Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing the plot of the novel Devil on the Cross by Ngugi Thiong'o. Please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so that you get notified when the videos on the characterization and the themes in the novel is uploaded. The novel Devil on the Cross is set in the postcolonial landscape of 1980s Kenya. Although at this point, the country had its own legislature and government, the influence of international culture and currency still play a large role in the daily lives of everyday citizens. Something that the author Ngugi Thiong'o hate and saw as a residue of colonial oppression, despite the independence of Kenya. And the novel is set in the post-colonial Kenyan society in the 1980s. And the novel opens with a Gikandi player in Ilmorog, a fictional rural outpost in Kenya. The player says that he is initially reluctant to tell the story that follows, but a divine intervention and the collective will of the people urges him to do so. So, Jacinta is the main character and the protagonist of the novel. And she is introduced beginning in the second chapter. In the second chapter of the novel, that is when Jacinta is introduced to us. Jacinta Waringa has recently lost her boyfriend and also been fired for rejecting the advances of her boss. And she feels completely despondent and loss of hope. She decides to return to her parents in Ilmorog in the village, but suddenly attempts suicide while at a bus stop. Even so, an unknown man saves her before she was able to complete the suicide mission. She tells the unknown man her life story, one of being impregnated at a young age. Being impregnated at a young age by a sugar daddy, where a man who she was acting as a sugar girl for, and being forced to abandon all her childhood dreams, ambitions, and then the sugar daddy moved and left her. Even though she had a lot of dream and she was hoping that, okay, the sugar daddy is going to marry her. In response, the sugar daddy the strange man offered her an invitation to a party called the Devil's Feast. The party is a competition in modern theft and robbery. And the man tells her that the condition that caused Waringa Jacinta to be exploited will be explained if she goes to the feast. But Waringa is uncertain. She doesn't really want to go. In fact, she was not even conscious whether she would go or not. Since the feast is advertised using demonic language, she was not certain, because Jacinta Waringa practices Christian faith and does not want to have anything to do with the devil. Coincidentally, however, the feast is being hosted in Ilmorog, where Jacinta is heading to meet her parents. To get to Ilmorog, she bought a bus called Matatu. It is a taxi bus that drives to Ilmorog and other villages from the capital of Nairobi. And the bus is driven by a greedy and unctuous man named Waura. While on the matatu, Waringa meet a wide array of characters, and each of the characters tell their own life story and describe what is bringing them to Ilmorog. And one of the person is Muturi. Muturi is a handyman who is traveling to Ilmorog to look for work after being fired from his last job. He went on strike and asked for a livable wage, for his wage to be increased, and then his boss fired him. And coincidentally, the boss who fired Muturi, it was the same boss that fired Waringa. He fired Muturi for asking for a higher pay, and he fired Waringa, Jacinta Waringa, for asking for not accepting for the boss to sleep with her. So also on the bus we have Wangari, a woman who fought for Kenya's independence during the Mau Mau uprising, but who was arrested for vagrancy while looking for work in Nairobi. She's on her way to Ilmorog to cooperate with the police and point out thieves and robbers so as to avoid her own charges. It was a promise made to her that if she can point out thieves in the Ilmorog and other neighboring villages, she will not be charged. Then she will be pardoned. That it was a friendly agreement between her and the police. And also present in the ball is Gaturia, a well-educated and polite student from the university who studies local music, on his way to Ilmorog to see the devil's feast and try to convince himself of the truth of the old folk tale, which tell of demon and the like that up to this point Gaturia has never seen. And another person in the bus is Wireri wa Mukrai. That is the name. The name is somehow difficult to pronounce. The Wireri Magurai is a reticent and wealthy businessman who speaks only to talk about his faith in theft. Theft, according to Wireri, is what makes a country develop. The only thing that keeps a country beneath another on the global stage is its relative ineptitude to grab and steal in places where its people have not worked. So, the Matatu bus ride to Ilmorog sees wide-ranging and deep discussion. There was a lot of discussion while they were in the bus, as well as discussion of the post-colonial condition that have empowered local tycoons and business people and others who work for the white people. So even though Kenya fought to end their independence, and even though the people who are in power at the present moment are normally, or can be said, they are Kenyan by origin and by race, they often serve at the feet of foreign masters. They are still like slaves to the colonial masters, because the colonial masters tell them what to do. They are being directed by the colonial masters, who have given independence to Kenya, but they are still indirectly ruling through neocolonial antis. So in some way, some conditions are even worse than colonial condition, because they keep the imperialistic truth hidden from the people. So the consensus of the Matatu is that the Devil's Feast will host many of the thieves and traitors who enable the post-colonial system of capitalism. So each passenger is curious to go for their own reason. Wireri wa Mukuria, however, informed them that the feast is not in fact hosted by the devil, but rather by a local association of thieves and robbers. The card that Waringa received, he says, is a forgery made by people, by students who made mockery of the association and also protesting against the association. So upon arriving at the feast, Waringa and other others bear witness to a series of barbaric, inhuman, and exploitative proposals by a series of businessmen and tycoon. Each tycoon talk about how they have exploited the people and earned vast fortunes, not just to share information and technique among thieves, but also to impress a delegation of foreigners that are colonialists, that we cram one of them as a winner. So it was really a moment of a challenge for Jacinta Waringa. So Waringa and Jacinta chose to stay as spectators, while Muturi and Wangari, frightened by what they have heard, chose to lead a revolt of the peasants and call the police to capture those present at the feast, respectively. But what happened? Meanwhile, Waringa and Gaturia get launched, and Waringa tell Gaturia of how her life was real, where she became the sugar gear of a rich old man from Ugorika, which led her to try and take her life several times, only to be rescued each time. Upon returning to the cave, Waura tell Waringa and Gaturia of the two plans, and he also tell Waringa that it was Muturi who rescued her each time from suicide. Another man take the stage and begin to talk, but Waringa flees and fall asleep against a tree. While she's asleep, the devil comes to her and exposes the truth of the entire colonial and imperial operation, rooted in the sheer evil of capitalist exploitation, and invite her to take part in it. She rejects, and then the police came and even arrested those who invited the police. So 2 years pass. Waringa and Gaturia are to be married, and through extensive and costly preparation, she has satisfied her childhood fantasies of being a mechanical engineer, and she has also become proficient in self-defense, followed the ideal of Marxism, and has held on to a pistol that Muturi gave her at the cave in a secret. So meanwhile, Gaturia has completed his musical composition on the history of Kenya and is to present it along with his new girlfriend to his father in Nakuru. So Waringa leaves Nairobi with her man to go and meet his parents, but it was challenging as Waringa does so. So she is also despondent because her old boss, with the support of business people from America, Germany, and Japan, has purchased the garage where Waringa worked so that he can wreck it and develop a traveler inn on the site, which is a hotel. So okay. So Gaturia and Waringa first meet with her parents, and her mother gives the couple her blessing. Afterward, they go to Nakuru, where Waringa sees that her boyfriend's family is one of the very tycoon family she has grown to dislike since the feast. And in fact, many of the people who spoke at the feast are present at Gaturia's house. Moreover, she discovers that Gaturia's father is in fact the rich old man from Ugorika who impregnated her and they abandoned her as a gear. So Waringa restrained herself at first, but as the father continued to advance on her and even threaten her, she snaps. She shoots Gaturia's dad and a few other visitors from the feast, claiming that she will stop them from ruining the life of others. and continue the system of oppression they perpetrate. So Gaturia is left standing uncertain whose side to take. And as the novel ends, Waringa walks away from the house without looking back. And where was Waringa going to? It was uncertain. Nobody knows. But she was satisfied that she has ended a tenure of oppressors. And now others can live free of oppression, even though she, Waringa, will go away probably to the land of uncertainty. So in our subsequent video, we are going to be discussing extensively the characters and the role each character play in the novel, as well as the themes in the novel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you get notified when the videos on the themes and the characterization are uploaded. Thank you and have a great day.